Okay, hello everyone. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to do work the room. I feel like it's a little wider than usual. We do a little twirl here. Oh, okay. Well, again, thank you for being here on this rainy Thursday. Hopefully we'll bring you the sunshine vibes for the dual launch of Nisha Sharma and Adib Khorram. Very exciting. Before we get started, a few housekeeping items. Just out of curiosity, is there anybody who's here for the first time in the store? Oh my gosh, welcome. Huge round of applause. Yes. And anybody who's here virtually for the first time out of curiosity? Not that we'll hear from them, but Lady Rose could tell us. Oh, yeah. Well, a hearty welcome to all of you. And I hope that it won't be the last time that you are here. We have tons of wonderful events, romance and otherwise. You can always check out our website. We have tons of information about that. But I do know that we have an upcoming event in September for Andy Burke for Fall for Him. So that's going to be really exciting. If you haven't signed up already, make sure to take care of that. A number of people have already figured out that restrooms are upstairs and past the cash register. So if that is news to you, now you have it. I would love if everyone could just silence their phones right now. That would be very much appreciated. And of course, we have both of their books for sale, as well as some backstock. So previous books of Nisha Sharma and previous young adult books of Adib. So those are upstairs. If you haven't already acquired a book, I'm pretty sure after the conversation, you will want to acquire a book and they are going to be upstairs for you. Okay. All of the extra books are upstairs, none are down here. The last thing I'll say is at the end, we will have a signing. And so it'll be set up over here and we'll have people start lining up right around here whenever it's time. Please don't crowd there before the time because we have to like try to get everything out of the way and it just makes it easier. If you just wait, everybody will get their book signed and it'll be a great time. All right, I think I went through everything. Last thing, a shout out to the romance book club. Any romance book club people here? Welcome. So as you can see, we have a very hearty romance community that you are welcome to be a part of. You are part of it tonight. But if you want to, every third Friday at 6:30 p.m. here at the store, we have a great time. All right. Now, is that not true though? Okay. So we have two authors who are both celebrating their launch today. The first author is Nisha Sharma, pronouns she, her, who is a YA and adult contemporary romance writer living in the Philly suburbs with her Alaskan husband. And she has tons of stories if you ever want to hear about that. And a plethora of animals named after characters in literature. Her books have been included in best of lists by the New York Times, Entertainment Weekly, Cosmopolitan, and others. Before she left the corporate world, Nisha spearheaded DEI initiatives at billion dollar, not million dollar, billion dollar companies, and she has continued her advocacy work by fighting for marginalized authors in publishing. When she's not writing about people of color experiencing radical joy or teaching about inclusivity, Nisha can be found hitting the books for her PhD in English and social justice. How awesome is that? All right, our next author, Adib Khorram, is the author of Darius the Great is Not Okay, which earned the William C. Morris Debut Award, the Asian Pacific American Award for Young Adult Literature, a Boston Globe Horn Book Honor, and others. His novels Darius the Great Deserves Better, Kiss and Tell, and The Breakup Lists, as well as his picture books, come on now, Seven Special Somethings, A Norwood Story, and others have garnered critical acclaim, starred reviews, and bestsellers. Please join me in welcoming both Nisha Sharma and Adib Khorram for their books. Hi.
Hello. Right. It's a different configuration than the last time I was here. I feel very fancy.
This is great.
Right. Thank you all for coming tonight. How's it going, Nisha?
I'm tired, man.
I
Um,
was tired and then I took a nap today.
that's amazing. I took a nap and I'm still tired.
Oh no. I'm so sorry.
Um,
You're in a PhD program.
I am, yeah.
That'll do
But
it too.
I mean, like, there's only so much I can like blame school for. I think a lot of it is like just not eating protein and just like living off French fries during launch week.
I mean, that's a
But
rite of passage though.
yeah, that's true. Launch week is like that. I feel like it's all French fries, you know?
French fries all the way down, and then a turtle way at the bottom.
Oh my gosh. I actually got that reference.
Excellent.
Do you want to play a game with me?
I love playing games.
Okay, we're all gonna play a game. We're gonna start with a game.
Okay.
Okay. We play this game at my launch with Sanjana Bhaskar. She's genius. She's like came up with this, and I loved it so much. I was like, we have to do it here too. Okay, so he's a 10. He's a 10, but he's bossy.
11.
Yeah, I concur. I concur. Okay. He's a 10, but he hates wine.
4.
So, like, I feel like wine is spoiled grape juice. I know, don't hate me,
I
but
don't hate anyone. I don't yuck anyone's yum.
and which I think it technically is spoiled grape juice.
Fermented.
Okay, fermented grape juice. So like if it was whiskey, then it would be a 4 for me.
Whiskey is just spoiled wheat.
It's
By your logic. Or
yeah,
rye.
that's true. Okay, fine. That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah.
But
Okay.
again,
So
I don't yuck your yum. And whiskey is also delicious.
yeah, yeah. I mean, to each his own, I guess.
You know what? You can go and sit with Sierra Simone in the whiskey
I
corner,
know.
and I will sit with all the cool people in the wine corner.
Oh, yeah, okay. I mean, but I got
We
Sierra
did fight
Simone.
about this on Tuesday.
Yes. Okay. He's a 10, but he can't handle spicy food. Yeah,
Oh,
0.
okay.
Ooh, yeah, 0.
I come from stock that has a range of reactions to spicy food.
Mm,
So I'm gonna say like 8 with an asterisk because it depends if they're willing to try it and suffer and be miserable, then it's
that's
fine.
okay.
And they'll just, you know what, they like, I respect you and I respect your food, and I'm gonna do this and be miserable.
Yeah,
That's different
that's
than being like, "Ugh, black pepper is too spicy."
Oh my gosh. No, yeah. I mean, like if they're willing to work on their tolerance, I think
Yeah.
that's fair, you know? But if they're like salt is my seasoning of choice,
I
I'm
mean,
like,
salt is delicious, but
like it cannot be the
it
only
can't be the only one.
seasoning. Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. He's a 10, but his parents fired him.
I mean, why was he working for his parents in the first place? 5.
That's fair. I mean, I say 8.
Okay.
I say 8, because my assumption is that they fired him because he's like butting up against tradition and he wants change.
That's fair. Okay, that's like an 8 or even a 9.
Yeah,
If they fired him because he was inept and a nepo baby, maybe a 3 or 4.
for sure. Yeah.
And embezzling, 0.
Agreed. Okay, last one.
Yes.
He's a 10, but his first love is his career.
Ooh. I would say probably a 6. But again with an asterisk maybe he can change.
Yeah. Um, so I married a workaholic and I'm also a workaholic. So I feel like 8.5.
Okay.
Just because it's
Very
like
nice.
we respect that like
Yeah.
our careers are like at war with our relationship.
Right.
a lot of the time.
You know what? I think healthy communication, if you match your ambitions to your communication,
Yeah,
a lot of things can be overcome.
I like that. That's great. That makes me feel better about myself.
Excellent.
Awesome. So we have some questions for each other that we typed up and we texted each other 40 minutes ago. So do you want to go first? You want me to
I
go
would love
first?
to go first. I think we
Let's do
should
it.
take turns a little bit.
Okay,
Um,
let's do it.
I think I'm trying to be very mindful and very demure of everyone's time. So I'm not going to ask you to describe the books. I'm just going to ask you to give us 5 words to sum up Marriage of Musty, and then everyone else can just read the flap copy later, or hopefully just already love how awesome you are and buy it sight unseen, which is what I would do if I didn't already know you. But I'm still going to buy it sight unseen, even though I did read it. but I'm going to buy it anyway. Again,
Wait, so five words.
but you have to just pick 5 words.
They see 12th night, but sexy.
Okay, very nice. I like that you incorporated butts. One of my favorite words.
I like that. Yeah.
Yes,
That's
and what are you most proud of about this book?
about this book. Ooh,
Yeah.
that's also a really
You
good
can also tell us
question.
what you're just most proud of in life in general if you want.
Um, that's also a good question, but I feel like that's like I might have to save that one for therapy,
Okay.
but like I can
Fair.
but like the one for this book. So I think what I'm most proud of with this book is that like it's the first time I've finished a series. So it's like, okay, first of all, I finished a series, very exciting. The second piece of it is like um I incorporated like a lot of vulnerable emotions that I felt in my 20s. And like I really felt like I was like coming to terms with like a phase in my life that is now like officially closed. I haven't really talked I this week I've been talking about this book as a set more and more, but like Dating Dr. Dill was supposed to be about dating life. Tastes Like Shucker was supposed to be about the feelings around like weddings. And then Marriage and Musty is feelings around marriage. It's like the movement through these 3 phases, right? This transition. And now that this transition is complete, like I feel like I've, kind of wrapped up this part of my life that, was difficult, but also like really a time for growth for me as well. And I was able to share those emotions in this in this book.
I think you pulled it off.
Thanks.
And I actually read read this and then went back and reread the first 2. And I hadn't conceived of them as like they are. On the one hand, they're all romances, which is always about finding that happy ever after. But they really, you capture those 3 acts in life so perfectly.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so like I would like to ask you a question
Yes.
specifically about like the writing process now.
Oh.
But many of you may not know, but Adib and I like debuted together. So
In the before times.
in the before times in 2018, our
When
first
rocks
book
were
came
soft
out.
before metal was invented. Right.
When there was like 15,000 more book festivals than there are
Oh my
today, to be
gosh, right?
honest. But we were literally on tour together. We'd see each other like every other month. And we'd always like be talking about food and like writing and all this other stuff. And so like our careers have kind of grown together. So I'm so glad you're finally in romance. And so since this is your debut romance, how was writing this book different as a process from your YA?
I would say I found the process was perhaps most affected not by the change in category, but by the time I was writing it, namely the pandemic. I in fact started writing romance in the pandemic because I started reading romance in the pandemic because I was depressed. And a friend of mine was like, "You know what you need? You need to read romances because they always have a happy ending." And I was like, "You're right. I do need to." And I had read romance off and on throughout my life. It's one of my favorite genres. Um, but when you become a busy author, you pretty much always just read whatever you're trying to blurb next, or read to like keep current in your genre. And I couldn't keep any books down. And so I went to my library and got like 30 romances, and just started reading. And I rediscovered joy. And then but I was like, these are all really good, but I don't see a whole lot of queer Iranians in them. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
maybe I should write some about queer Iranians. I'm not saying that there were none. Self-publishing is like so wide and so broad that I can never know everything that's ever come out. But my library didn't have any, so I had to write them. And aside from like getting COVID while writing it, which means I don't actually remember much of writing the first draft, I'd say the biggest difference was freedom in a way, which was both good and bad, because I believe artistic constraints can help guide you along the path and make reaching a finished product easier. But on the other hand, like getting to write about wine and boning was really, really fun. And you don't get to do that in YA. Well, not the kind of YA I write, at least. I mean, everything is allowed, but perhaps you have to come at it from a different angle if you're writing about teenagers drinking a lot of wine and boning.
Yeah.
Unless it's Europe, and then all bets are off.
That's fair.
Um, but I want to turn that back on you. Like
Yeah.
you've been an adult for a little while, but you also made that leap. What was it like for you?
So when I first started writing, I started writing romance, like professionally when I was like 19, right? So I actually like went to YA first after writing like my first few books were romances that I just couldn't get published. And everyone said that your voice is too young, your voice is too young. And so I ended up starting an MFA program and I wrote my so-called Bollywood life in this MFA program after like a few failed starts with like adult contemporary romance. And we had also like gone out with like a YA fantasy and then like that didn't work out. But like then I found like my sweet spot, which was like the rom-com.
Mm.
And so my so-called Bollywood life like sold film rights before it sold like to Penguin Random House. It like was off and running. And then after that, like I would get people asking me for adult rom-coms. Like I got questions. And I didn't feel like I was ready yet to write it. But like so my first adults were actually like billionaire romances,
The
which
Singh
is
family, right?
yeah, the Singh family.
They're
Um
amazing. Check them out.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
We decided for the last one, but didn't it get it just
You
got delayed,
know,
right?
Adib, roasting me so early.
I'm not roasting. This is promo, baby.
Yeah. Except I haven't written it yet. No, but it's supposed to come
Oh,
out
is that
next
why
year.
it's
Yeah.
delayed?
That's why it's delayed.
I assumed perhaps you were just spacing things out
No, no,
for
I just
promo's sake.
like literally have not finished it. But I promise
Just as a
everyone that I'm
trifling
going
matter.
to. But yeah, so it felt very natural actually, to like just sliding into romance. And then after the billionaire books, I felt like, okay, I feel like my voice is ready for that like adult romance experience. So that's when I started writing the Shakespeare books.
That's amazing. Well, I don't know if you know this about me, but I was a theater kid growing up, and so I always appreciate like a new fun take on Shakespeare. This one in particular, first of all, Twelfth Night is one of my favorites. It has shenanigans, sibling shenanigans in particular. It's very queer. It's very fun. Um, but I was really interested, in particular, in the way that you brought parental dynamics into it, because that's not truly significant in like Shakespeare's version. But both Vera and Deepak have such like complicated, interesting relationships with their parents, and I think you and I both, perhaps being children of diaspora, have complicated feelings about our own relationships with parents and the relationships we see around us. Can you talk a little bit about what made you want to explore parental dynamics in this?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's always like three things I incorporate in pretty much all of my books, and it's like community, culture, and like family. And so I've had really positive I personally have a very positive relationship with my parents, but I know that's not the norm for a lot of people. Like a lot of South Asians have very difficult or complicated relationships with parental figures, and it's not always like sunshine and rainbows. And so I felt like I was doing a disservice to my community if I only highlighted relationships that were painted in one particular light. So I wanted to kind of play with this idea of like two different types of parental influence and how like individuality can shape like the decision like you ending up pretty much in the same place, and like individual decision making can help you end up in the same place. So like um that we often think like, oh, parents kind of can help shape and decide like your futures in certain ways, but like I wanted Deepak and Vera to show that like yeah, they have an influence, but you know you also can have control too, especially if you lean on found family. So that's like the other dynamic that's in the story. So Deepak has like this really positive relationship with his parents and he still struggles. And Vera is like has gone no contact with her father. And she is like trying to find like her anchor because her family used to be her anchor. and both of them like come to similar realizations together.
I really loved Dipuk's family and parents so much, and I loved hating on Vera's dad because it really felt one of my not guilty pleasures, but perhaps unhealthy pleasures at times is Reddit's "Am I the asshole?"
Oh my God,
And
that's so
I was
fun.
like, oh my God, Vera should be posting on this. Like, it was great. I loved it.
I
It
really
was
appreciate that.
it's so good.
I would love to ask you a question about like cultural influence specifically now too. There's like a lot of, so in your story you have um like someone who's getting their sommelier certification and someone who's taking over their family's bistro. And there's so much attention to detail in both wine and culturally significant food. So why is food culture important to you? And share a little bit about how that plays an important role in specifically one of your protagonists as they take over their the family bistro.
Yeah. I will say, I think broadly, I like a lot of people in diaspora reach for food first as like a cultural touchstone. I don't know if anyone here is familiar with the cultural iceberg model, and I always blank on the person who created it. But I'm sure if you Google cultural iceberg, you can find the attribution. This isn't college, so I'm just not going to cite my sources. Don't worry about it. Look
It's
away.
Google.
Look away. But food is one of those parts of the iceberg that is above the surface of the water. And so, you know, growing up in the United States, growing up perhaps only connecting with my Iranian family over the summers when I would visit them in Canada, um, like that was the way I could connect. And I think that's true for a lot of diasporic people. And so I think that was a really, I want to say easy, but I think perhaps repeating theme in a lot of my work is that we reach for what's accessible to us and kind of grow from there. And um, and so as far as Farzan, who is taking over his parents' Iranian restaurant, he felt that, you know, that was an important part of his culture, and not only that, but that the restaurant itself represented a space that was important for his community. Many immigrant communities, like restaurants, are some of the first businesses they open when they emigrate to a new place. And I remember I live in Kansas City and have for most of my life, and I remember how kind of fractured my own Iranian community became when the one Iranian restaurant in town closed, and like, you know, all the families just sort of collapsed in on themselves, and like now you only saw your families, you didn't see strangers as often, um and not only that, but like, you know, one outward facing part of our community to like the larger Kansas City community was gone. And so I really wanted to show someone who cared about that and wanted to fight to correct that. I also think more broadly, particularly in writing romance, it's really fun that we use a lot of the same words to talk about food as we do to talk about love and sex. And so I think it made for nice metaphors.
I feel like you did like sexy food really well. Like
Thank you.
like I don't want to, I'm trying to like not spoil it, but
No, that's fair. I will admit I probably could have gone sexier. There's no whipped cream and there's no
there's no
chocolate
whipped creams,
yet,
guys.
but you know what? I have more romances in me, so
Yeah.
we're you know, you don't want to use everything on the first one.
Yeah, that's true. I did like whiskey on like naked boobs in my last
I
book.
remember
And
that
the
scene. Oh
way
my
people were
goodness.
like, it was so polarizing.
Really?
So, oh yeah, people
I
were
feel like
like,
as long as it's above the belt, it's fine.
but it wasn't. It wasn't just above the belt. That
Oh
was
my
the
God, that's
problem.
right. Okay,
Yeah.
you're right. That I don't know if it messes with
And people
pH
were
or not.
like,
I was like, that's gonna
Nisha, like
yeast
there's
infections.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay, no, that's fair.
a link to about yeast infections. I was like, thank you for educating me, but the book has been
Right.
out for like 3 months.
Oh my gosh. People still sometimes like let me know that I've made mistakes in books that are 6 years old, and I'm like, listen, like,
The
listen,
ship has gone.
it's a little late for that. Thanks, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I forgot that it trailed down. That was a really sexy scene though.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
That tastes like sugar. Yeah. Did it taste like sugar or did it taste like whiskey?
Yeah. And well, yeah.
Exactly. Yes, both.
Yeah.
Exactly. Um, sort of sideways on from food. I guess still sort of sticking with the theme of diaspora. One of my favorite parts of Marriage and Musty is that the very beginning takes place in Goa, um, both because I thought that was a really like a really fun way of incorporating the beginning of Twelfth Night, which involves a shipwreck. Um,
I was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing a little.
I was like, and I was like, no, I was like, did Nisha manifest that storm that just like capsized a billionaire's yacht? Possibly. I don't know, but remind me to never to piss you off. But I don't know, as a child of immigrants, like it's such a powerful thing to like go back where your family originated from. Can you talk a little bit about the process of incorporating that into the novel? Like what was your research like? Have you
Yeah.
been just tell me everything.
I have never been to Goa, to be honest. It's the one place I have not gone that I've written about. Like, there are actually like two or three places in the Karma map, which is my YA road trip through India that like is heavily like also influenced by like travel as well. But I have not, no. But like um pretty much every single one of my extended family has gone to Goa. So it was a lot of like picking their brains. Like one of them is like super bougie, and so my cousin is like super bougie. So she like goes to Goa, and she's like, you know how like some families will rent like a house on the Jersey Shore for like six or 7 weeks or something, or like in the Hamptons. I don't know like if there's an equivalent in the DMV area to that, but like up where I'm like it's like 6 or 7 weeks you're getting a house in like Cape May or Avon by the Sea. And so she did that in Goa. And so I was like, tell me the restaurants, tell me the food, tell me like the vibes. And she like so she pretty much like gave me this whole thing of like all of the details and pictures and stuff like that. And one of the pictures was like she was just walking on the beach, and like this hotel was like setting up this wedding, and there's like a lot of people who like elope in Goa. So that was like really one of the things that I was like, okay, this is how I can do it. Like this is the accidental marriage situation.
It's so good. And it's so lush and vibrant, and it made me want to visit so badly.
I mean, I feel um like when it comes to lush and vibrant though, like you have like seriously give everyone a run for their money with the way you describe like wine. Like seriously, it's like I've never heard of like different like oaks and textures and fruit that like go into this book. Like you have done so much research for the way that like your character is like trying to take this wine exam, and like it's so beautifully detailed. I would love to know what was your research process for this wine?
Okay. Uh Boy, well, part of the research process, and maybe this isn't much of a surprise, involved drinking a lot of wine, which I've been doing since I was about 25. Um, Kansas City has a really cute city market, and I used to visit it every Saturday. And every Saturday, this wine store called the Wine Cellar, but Seller, which I thought was a very cute pun, would do a free wine tasting. And so I started going and learning about wine. And in college, I thought wine was disgusting because all we had was Franzia. And no offense, all wines are valid. And if you like the Tour de Franzia, I'm not gonna judge anyone that wants to run that gauntlet. But it didn't do anything for me. And so I was really a Midori sour baby until I realized that I was allergic to melons. Um, I was like, why does alcohol always make my tongue go numb and my lips burn? Oh, it's just this. Uh, we all have those moments in college. Um, but so I just sort of enjoyed wine as a casual drinker, and a sort of um uh I really enjoyed the way it could be paired with foods. And as someone who also really loves tea, I appreciate that it's a singular ecological product that is representative of a certain place and a certain time and a certain growing season and a certain producer's intentions with it. And there's something magical about that. So research wise, I did drink a lot. Um, I did have to research like how the actual test works, and there's thankfully information on that. There's actually a few documentaries about people taking that test, and it's very intense. There's also some like fiction movies, I guess just movies. I mean, in books we would call it fiction and nonfiction, but I guess in movies it's just documentaries or movies. Um, hmm. someone should tell the Academy that they need to be clearer. Sometimes I would write about wines that I like couldn't remember, and so I would go and look up the tasting notes. And then sometimes it was wines that I had. And I actually keep one of the things I keep on my writer's desk is called the Wheel of Flavor. And it's technically a tool for tea tasting, but it also works great for wine, or just also for describing like a sexy man's colognes if you need to. And it literally just like groups different flavors.
Or sandalwood, right? Like that's
Okay, sandalwood is really lovely. Lon John always wore. I don't know if anyone else watched The Untamed or has read the book that it's based on, but Lon John always had sandalwood. But no, so it like groups by like woods, florals, citrus, and so like that was really helpful. I used to joke that like this whole book was really just an excuse for me to write off my wine on my taxes. But if you're at the IRS, please know I very much did not do that. I would like to, but I didn't. I was too scared of
I
getting
mean,
audited.
I personally think that sounds like research. So like, but I mean, I will say one of the things that like I don't think we have talked about yet, and like I actually don't know if we have time to talk about, but that
Oh,
all
we
of
have
you,
10 minutes.
I know that all of you have like to look forward to, is like how deeply romantic it is that these two incredibly competent protagonists who like love like what they're doing, like their passions are what like begins to pull them together, right? Like their shared like love for the work that they're doing, for wine, for food, is like what pulls them closer together from like a place where it was like supposed to be in no strings, one night situation, to this really like lovely relationship.
Yeah, I think I don't know I just turned 40 this year, and I think the older I get, the more I really find competence sexy,
Yeah.
and I find passion not just for other people, but passion for life, passion for the things you love, really sexy. And I think that's something I really wanted to convey in the book. So thank you. Speaking of kind of getting older and general milestones, and no, it's funny
I don't
because
know where you're going with
no,
this.
no, Deepak and Vera are both like the last ones in their group to be single. And I don't know about if you know this about me, but I'm actually a flaming homosexual. And and I have a lot of straight friends that are all like coupled up. And so I really identified with like being the last single standing. Can you talk a little bit about like why you decided to gift that particular neurosis to them? And
Yeah.
and in particular, it seemed like Vera had like much more intense feelings about it. Can you talk a little about that too?
Yeah. So like I think the reason why Deepak didn't feel it as intensely is because like his focus, his sole goal in life was this like one career thing. And he prioritized it over his relationships until he realized he was losing his relationships. So, I think like that's why he didn't feel it as intensely. But like Vera was like pretty much like lost her job, lost her family, lost her best friends, like all in one fell swoop in like 18 months, right? And so she felt it really intensely because there's like this loneliness that comes with knowing your center of gravity is this group of people you can call anytime to like meet up on a random Tuesday night, like, or to go to brunch and spend all your Sundays with, like, who now you have to schedule out like 3 or 4 weeks in advance just to see them for an hour and a half lunch, right? And so like that's why I think for her it was such an intense feeling. But more importantly, for South Asian women, there's this social stratification that exists once you hit like an age where the community deems you as like not having purpose. And it's really toxic. It's terribly like patriarchal, but Vera like sees the way that there are like there's a specific language around being coupled. There's like a community around being coupled. There's a community around being married. And she's not allowed to enter that space. Her status does not give her an opportunity to have the same experiences or shared memories. And so like that is something that she's thinking about as like, what is my value? And when she gets like married, she is worried that she's going to like lose access to the friends that she's now regained because she's entered the social space once this marriage may fall apart. So that's like part of like her journey and like finding out what like her self-worth is through the whole process.
It was one of my just favorite things. And oh boy, just wait until one of them starts having children, and then
It's
it becomes even more
insane.
impossible.
Oop, I'm dropping everything.
Oh no, it's all good. I
Yeah.
recently tried to have like dinner with my friends, and it went from dinner to like, oh, let's have an afternoon stroll to, well, come over for 30 minutes to have ice cream and then go away. Like it was
I mean,
ridiculous.
it's really so like I all of my friends have children now. And like I was the last one to get married as well. Like I was a bridesmaid 7 times in 1 year.
Oh my
It
God.
was like
Ah,
the most wild
my kidneys.
experience. And then like when I got married, my husband and I eloped, and like part of the reason why we eloped is because our entire like bridal party that we had selected um was pregnant. So
Well, fuck that
like
kid.
I know. And so they like and our wedding was like in India, like our traditional wedding was in India. And so like none of them could travel for it. So we were like, okay, well, like come, watch our elopement and
That's
you know,
amazing.
but yeah.
That's great. Well, I think we're about to transition to audience questions,
Yeah.
but Nisha, what's next for you?
So I wrote a fantasy.
Yes.
And I like I guess it was on NetGalley like months ago, and like I forgot to tell people about it. And so Illusions of Fire comes out in February. It's my like okay, fine. Everyone can read it. It's YA, it's amazing, whatever. But I feel like it's my love letter to like millennials because it's Buffy fan fiction.
Yes.
Oh, this is what the cover looks like. It's
Ooh.
gorgeous. They did an incredible job. Thank you so much. And Illusions of Fire is like monster of the week, South Asian mythology, like also a sexy love story,
I can't wait.
but like demure and cutesy because it's YA.
Excellent. Bear in mind, right? Not like those other fantasy girls.
Yes. What's next for you though?
That very much depends on a couple factors. I have a picture book coming out, should be next year, called Tia's Love, about surprise, surprise, tea and the role it plays in transmitting love amongst many cultures. Um, but also, as with any illustrated product, like if someone gets carpal tunnel, maybe it won't come out in the summer, but I think it should come out in the summer. And then I actually have another adult romance about one of Farzan's two best friends, Ramin,
I'm so
uh,
excited.
ha having a second chance romance in Italy.
This friend group, y'all, it's the banter was so good.
Thank you. Well, does anyone in the audience have questions? Any hands? Do we have a brave? Aha, yes, in the floral. Ooh, yes. So someone in the audience asked us if we have a drink recommendation as a pairing with the book. A cheese too. Okay.
Okay.
Someone asked for a cheese as
I can
well.
totally do this because I have a cheese joke in mind because it's
Yes.
12th night, so she's the man, if you know.
Yeah.
Also Chloe Leese and Chloe Leese has a 12th night book coming out next year as well, and both of us agreed to make a cheese joke together. So
Excellent.
when you read her book, you'll see that we both made cheese jokes. Uh like tandoori paneer is like one of my favorite like quick cheese snacks. I have like multiple drink recommendations because I'm like one of those multiple drink like girlies who has like 7 glasses on her desk. So like mango lassi for the summer, masala chai for the fall, whiskey neat if you're into alcohol.
I think it's really beautiful. Yeah. For me, I think cheese. I mean, you can't really go wrong with nuno paneer, traditional Persian breakfast. But if you want something like maybe a little more aged, just like a really beautiful, like a 36-month Parmigiano Reggiano is really hard to beat.
A 36-month.
Yeah. So the more time Parmigiano has to age, the more the various milk proteins turn into tyrosine, which feels like crystals on your tongue, and it's really beautiful. As far as drinks, I agree. Like I also am constantly like double or even quadruple fisting liquids, not anything else. Though I'm allowed now, it's adult. But no, I would say, I find it really hard to beat like a nice Pellegrino with a healthy lime wedge in it. Also, on a cold day or on a hot day or on any day where it's any time of day, a cup of Persian tea can't go wrong. Tea with a lot of cardamom. And if you're gonna have a glass of wine, I think you ask your server or your sommelier at your restaurant to recommend something based on your mood. Give them three emotions you're feeling and see what they come back with. Um, Most people that are in the wine business do it because they love wine and they will be really excited. Maybe 1 in 10 will be like, what is wrong with you? But the other nine will be really excited and be like, I got the bottle for you.
I love it.
Anyone else? More audience questions? Yes. Ooh, what advice do we have for young South Asian and Middle Eastern writers?
Um, Wait, can you go first?
I will. I will say, I have a few general piece of advice for anyone writing. One is buckle up, Buttercup. Um, because writing and particularly publishing is an emotional roller coaster, and you need to have a strong center and appreciation of your own worth separate of your like productivity as an artist, or you're going to be really, really miserable. My second piece of advice is that ignore all advice, because every writer is different, and don't literally ignore it, but try things out and see what works for you. Some people have to write every day. Some people cannot write every day. Um, I literally blanked on every other piece of advice I've ever heard. Any rules for writing? Um, really find what works for you. As far as like navigating writing, uh, I think know that there are others on this path with you. Reach out to those that are ahead of you on the path to ask for advice. I have only truly met like one or two really shit people that won't give advice to other writers. Most of us are in this because we didn't have a lot of books that reflected our lives and we wanted to bring people along with us. And as you go along the path, make sure you're extending a hand back to others. Because the more writing there is about our communities, the better it is for everyone. And as far as like just a concrete like craft tip, the best thing I ever did came from advice from an agent named Janet Reed who passed away earlier this year, and she said to just pick your favorite book in the world and sit down and copy it out word for word. And you're going to learn what it felt like to write that book. You're going to learn the rhythm of the sentences, the chapters, the paragraphs. And I've done that several times, and each time I feel like I leveled up my craft. I feel like I've talked a really long time
No,
now.
that's like wonderful advice. So I actually have like a tab on my website, like for writers, where I have like some like writing advice that's available. Like books that I recommend, like I have different craft sheets and stuff like that. So like the actual craft of writing, like I have resources there. I feel like everything that Adib said is spot on. The one thing I would add to that is like I'm first like eldest daughter like in an immigrant household, and I'm always like hungry for like success and driving forward and super motivated, but also like that can lead to burnout. So like you cannot eat the elephant in one bite. Like you have to take small bites and pace yourself. So like writing is a process, it's a journey, and it's not going to be something that like is an instantaneous thing that happens. Like a lot of the times we'll see like success happen in like one go online, or like this one debut came out to like blockbuster hits, but like you don't know all the books that didn't sell before that, and you don't know like the journey that happened before that. And many of us have been at this for a really, really long time. So you just have to pace yourself and like remember that like, just do what you can at a pace that's comfortable and balanced for you. So you aren't wrestling burnout, and you're also like being mindful of like, that this is going to be in for the long haul.
Agreed. 100% agree. Thank you. Yes.
What your favorite ramen food is, and if it made it into one of those steamy scenes.
Oh, so the question is from a fellow Iranian in the audience, what my favorite Iranian food is and whether it made it into a steamy scene. Um, my favorite Iranian food is actually kotab, which is a small almond-filled pastry that my family makes. My family is Yazdi, and we make them every Nowruz. And actually, I don't think I managed to get that into the book at all because it wasn't set during Nowruz times, and there's not a whole lot of pastry in it. I will say, one of my personal, I'm gonna get excommunicated for this. One of my least favorite Persian foods is ashereshteh. I really don't like beans, and all of my family is like, Adib, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know, but I just don't like them. But it's a soup with lots of beans. But in the book, Farzan makes David, his love interest, a big pot of ashereshteh when David gets a cold. And I don't know if it's sexy, but I think it's very sexy because hurt comfort is like a, like a top 5 trope for me, or in this case, sick comfort. And I was like, yeah, I hate this soup, but everyone in the book loves it.
Oh, we have one over here.
Excellent. Yes.
So I really love the Shakespeare trilogy, and I'm really excited for your book. But my question is, in the Shakespeare trilogy, you handle a lot of characters very, very well, and I want to know what you did, either plotting wise or like writing wise, to balance.
So the question is like basically like how to handle like writing an ensemble cast, right?
The question was also loved the entire series.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
For those in the audience, a super fan is here with us.
So thank you. That's so sweet. I feel like one of my strengths as a writer, like one of the things, if you're like a writer in the audience, one of, I guess another piece of advice is like find out what your strengths are and lean into them as hard as you can. And one of my strengths is ensemble casts. Like I think I handle them pretty well in pretty much all of my books. And the reason why is because like growing up, I had a huge family and I just got used to like hearing all the voices and filtering all the noise. But also like I have like 2 rules that I sort of follow, like maybe 3. The first is like the quietest person in the room in a scene with an ensemble cast should at least have 2 chances to speak. The loudest person in the room who speaks quite a bit should have the least amount of physical movement described. And there should be one person who kind of leads the movement of of like what's happening in the scene. So like an ensemble cast should not just be about banter, it should be about delivering some sort of like information that moves the story from one point to another. And like that lead character has to continue to move the narrative. So those are like my rules really. And I read everything I write out loud. Like nothing goes to my editor that I haven't read out loud first. And if I have a hard time keeping up, I'll usually like trim the scene. So I put everything into it and then I trim. It's easier to trim than it is for me to kind of like produce a perfect draft with an ensemble cast. So those are like my writing rules for that kind of situation.
Those are so good. I'm gonna steal them. I'm gonna borrow them respectfully,
Sure.
mindfully, and demurely. Son,
We have
Ooh.
actually we have
perfect. One
oh,
there, and then we'll go to this
yeah.
side again. Yes. King Lear. Oh, sorry. The question, as we're both,
Henry VI.
fair. The question was, as we're both theater kitties, which Shakespeare would make the worst romance? I said King Lear, and you said,
Henry VI.
yeah. I feel like those are both slightly disastrous.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I've seen like people try to make Othello a romance.
I hope it's an enemies to lovers with Iago.
I know. And I'm like this play is straight up about racism. Like like I don't know
You know,
like,
there's
what
always
you're
going to be
doing here, but
there's always going to be that one person that writes that romance and then wins some awards from RWA,
and
and
all
then
of us are gonna boo in this room. All
yes,
of us.
and then the organization is going to go bankrupt.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
those who
Gosh,
know
that's a deep-
RWA drama totally got that.
yeah,
We had a question on this side too.
Yes.
Yes.
Go for it. I also have questions.
I mean, I feel like every single
Oh,
character.
let's repeat the
Oh,
question.
sorry. So what each of my books in the Shakespeare series have like are around phases of, you know, dating, weddings, marriage, and do I relate to any one particular character? And the truth is, like, all of the characters have pieces of me and emotional beats that I've resonated with. I relate to all of them in very different ways. Like I got so much shit for Karina wearing sweater vests. But like
What monster doesn't like a
I,
sweater vest?
well, first of all, like I called it because now sweater vests are in.
Nice.
So like la di da. Um, and the second piece of that is like with Karina, like, and the sweater vest phase, like my first big girl job out of law school was working for this like heinous boss. And like I once wore like a floral dress to the office, and he looked at me and he's like, I cannot take you seriously. I'm canceling all of my meetings with you because like you look like you're so unprofessional right now. And so I wore a sweater vest for 3 years in a suit. Like I wore a full suit every day for 3 years. He's used to get so pissed off. And it was like as stubborn as Karina is about like who she is and how she presents herself. And like that is like a piece of me that I felt like made its way into the book. And then with Taste Like Shupker, it's eldest daughter who like has a very difficult time setting boundaries, to be completely honest, and gives so much of herself because she feels like her worth is tied to the way that other people need her. And then there's sad girl Vera, and sad girl Vera, sometimes you just need sad girl Vera. And so there's like bits of everyone, I think. I think like Bobby probably the most, just because eldest daughter. But yeah, like they all have like little bits of me.
Do we have time for one more? Does anyone have a final question? Yes. Oh,
That's a
the
great
question were what were
question,
some of the
Adib.
what were some of the romances that got me back into reading? I'm always endlessly shouting to anyone who will listen about Rebecca Weatherspoon's Rafe, a buff male nanny, which I really think is an exemplar of the genre. I really loved Alexis Daria's Primas of Power. The first two are out, and the third one is finally coming, and all will be right with the world. I really loved Adriana Herrera's American Dreamers series. Sierra Simone, everything she writes is so angsty, and I'm always like, this one's too angsty for me, and I always finish it anyway. And also, like, I was really fortunate that Dating Dr. Dill came out when I was very early on into writing, and so that was a great mentor text for me because there weren't a whole lot of like South Asian and Southwest Asian stories at the time, and there's so many more, even just like 3 years on, 2 or 3 years on from when that came out. But so that was really excited to be like, ooh, like, you know, there's space for me here. So those were really some really exciting ones. Thank you. Well, thank you all so much. I think we're
Thank you
turning
for
it back
coming,
over.
everyone.
Yes, thank you. And thank you, East City, for hosting us.
Thank you. That was such a great conversation. And I always feel like a little ogre coming and being like, no, we got to stop. But it's so that you can meet them and get your book signed and everything. So I'm going to take a picture with them and their books and let them get back there or get refreshed. And then I would love if you all could help us out by folding up your chairs. Not before. I'm channeling my former teacher. Not before. So let me get them all situated. And then if you could fold up your chairs and just put them, lean them on the side, that'll help us to get things moving. And I will make sure to let you all know when it's time for the signing. But another huge round of applause for Nisha and Adib. And thank you so much. We do have people at the register. If you're like, oh my gosh, I did not pick up Nisha's book yet. I did not pick up Adib's book. Don't worry. It's upstairs. So go ahead and take care of that. I'll let you know in a second when it's time to fold up.